Hey babes, and welcome back to the pajama party. Hey, 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 pajama party. Okay, I see you. Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. All right, so I hope y'all have been well. It's nice to be assembled here before you, with you again. And as always, we are going to start this off with some prayers. So bow your heads if you can do so safely. If not, just turn your ears on and listen in. Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for just getting us through another day. For some of us, we may be starting our days, Lord. And I just ask that right now you would dwell among us. I ask that you would fall afresh on me, that you would give me what to say to your children, how you want it to be conveyed, Lord. I ask that you would help me be obedient and that you would restore us all, Lord, as we go through this journey together, Father. I ask for blessings mentally, physically, and emotionally upon those who may be listening or watching me, Father. Asking that you would just touch every situation, Lord, and every heart, and that you will pull your children close to you. And just thank you again, Father. And I love you. In Jesus' name, we ask and pray. Amen. Okay, so welcome back, guys. I'm going to be honest. I did not write my notes out like I was supposed to. Okay, that's number one. But so this is the story. Oh, okay, Speed Racer. Lord bless that car to get to their destination safely, for real. But I was gonna go write notes for Paul and Peter, because our subject for tonight is boldness. I am bold. Be bold, if that's what you want to work to. But I was gonna talk about those two because I'm like, they're bold, and I felt like God was leading my mind that way. But then I was thinking like, well, I wonder, what moments I'm gonna use talking about Paul and Peter. But then the Lord was like, talk about Esther. And I was like, Father, you are right. So we are gonna actually go in the book of Esther and see what this girl is all about. And you would think I would just have my Bible open into the chapter, right? No, because I'm extra. The book of Esther. Now, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically, okay, we'll just get into it. So the first person we actually going to talk about is Vashti. I guess that's Vashti. So go to Esther 1, chapter 1, verses 8. So basically what's going on right now is there is this king, and he is having this great feast, and while this feast is going on and they're drinking, he basically is acting out. Okay, so it says, and the drinking was according to the law, none did compel. For so the king had appointed to all the officers of his house that they should do according to every man's pleasure. Also Vashti the queen made a feast for the women in the royal house which belonged to King Ahasuerus. On the 7th day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Mehuman, Biztha, Harbona, Bigtha, and Abagatha, Zethar, and Carcass, the 7 Carsus, Tarsus. The 7 chamberlains that served in the presence of Ahasuerus the king, to bring Vashti the queen before the king with the crown royal, to shew the people and the princess her beauty, for she was fair to look on. But the queen Vashti refused to come at the king's command meant by his chamberlains. Therefore was the king very wroth, and his anger burned in him. So basically, the king wanted Vashti to come out and show off, like show her body off to these people, you know, her whole essence. And she was like, no, I don't want to. And to me, first of all, I feel like it's a little bit ridiculous for you to be mad because somebody doesn't want to act in a way you think that they should act. Not only that, but he was drunk. So he is a drunk madman who is upset with his wife because she doesn't want to behave in a scandalous way, in like a way he thinks she should behave. She don't want to do it. She don't want to show herself off. So she gets punished. Let me see over here. So he's talking to them. He's like, what shall we do about it? And basically, Memucan answered before the king and the princes, Vashti the queen hath not done wrong to the king only, but also to all the princes and to all the people that are in the provinces of the king Ahasuerus. For this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women, so that they shall despise their husband in their eyes. When it shall be reported, the king Ahasuerus commanded Vashti the queen to be brought in before him, but she came not. Likewise shall the ladies of Persia and Media say this day unto all the king's princes, which have heard of the deed of the queen, thus shall there arise too much contempt and wrath. If it pleases the king, let there go a royal commandment from him, and let it be written among the laws of the Persians and the Medes, that it be not altered, that Vashti come no more before the queen Ahasuerus, and let the king give her royal estate unto another that is better than she. So basically, this guy, let me put my Bible down for a second, because this guy was like, since she didn't do what you asked her to do, you don't go talk to her, you know, don't go work it out like a man. You should take everything she has and give it to another woman because she embarrassed you. That's pretty much what it came down to. She hurt your pride, so you need to go and make a fool of her. Like, you need to shame her more publicly since she shamed you publicly and hurt your feelings, because hurt people hurt people. And y'all, the king was like, wicked, let's do it. Okay? I mean, okay, I got a lot of thoughts. So they start seeking for a new queen, right? And this lady Esther comes along. And so Esther is beautiful. The king is like head over heels for her. But Esther has a secret. She is a Jew. Now, the king has a right hand named Haman. Haman. He is a bad guy. He's a crook. So basically, he's mad at Mordecai because Mordecai is, you know, a believer of Jesus. He carries himself right, and he's wise counsel, pretty much. That's what I say. He's wise counsel. The king, you know, loves him. Haman at one point was like, thinking the king was talking to him, and the king was like, what should I do in order to honor this man? And Haman was like, you should get him like the fanciest of robes and get him all this nice jewelry and parade him around the town, because he thought that the king was gonna talk to him, but the king actually did it for Mordecai. Just favor ain't fair, y'all. Favor ain't fair. So anyways, Haman is now trying to get the Jews killed. he wants to eradicate them all and take them out because of his jealousy for Mordecai. And so, and I mean, the wife also plotted the idea in his head too, like, just sad. So Mordecai, it says, when Mordecai perceived of all that was done, Mordecai rent his clothes and put sackcloth with ashes and went out into the midst of the city and cried with a loud and bitter cry. That was chapter 4, verses 1. And the other one that I read you was still in Esther. It was chapter 1. I mean, I'm pretty sure I put them up. So anyways, back here. So Mordecai knows of Haman's plan now. So he goes to Esther and he's like, listen, baby girl, I need you to talk to the king. Esther's like, no, you don't understand. I can't just talk to the king. Like, there's a protocol. There's a way you got to do things. You know, she's been living by rules. She's very insecure. She doesn't, and let's be honest. When it comes to thinking about saving other people, especially like when it goes to revealing yourself for the sake of saving other people, it's hard. It's scary. I should know. And so Mordecai comes to Esther and is pretty much like, you are a part of this whether you want to be or not. So this is chapter 4, verses 13. Then Mordecai commanded to answer Esther, think not with thyself that thou shalt escape in the king's house more than all the Jews. For if thou altogether holdest thy peace at this time, then shall their enlargement and deliverance arise to the Jews from another place. But thou and thy father's house shall be destroyed. And who knoweth whether thou art come to the kingdom for such a time as this? Then Esther bade them return Mordecai this answer. Go, gather together all the Jews that are present in Shushan, and fast ye for me. Susan? Y'all, I'm sorry. I do not always know how to pronounce these words, but I try. And fast ye for me, and neither eat nor drink 3 days, night or day. I also and my maidens will fast likewise, and so will I go in unto the king, which is not according to the law, and if I perish, I perish. So Mordecai went his way and did according to all that Esther had commanded him. Okay, so Esther is not supposed to go in front of the king, all right? Rules, traditions, all that jazz. But Esther, she bucks up and she's like, it's big girl panties time. Chapter 5. Verse 1. Now it came to pass on the 3rd day that Esther put on her royal apparel and stood in the inner court of the king's house over against the king's house. And the king sat upon his royal throne in the royal house over against the gate of the house. And it was so, when the king saw Esther the queen standing in the court, that she obtained favor in his sight. And the king held out to Esther the golden scepter that was in his hand. So Esther drew near and touched the top of the scepter. Then the king said unto her, what wilt thou, Queen Esther, and what is thy request? It shall be given thee to half of the kingdom. So then Esther's like, I prepared a party for you and I really want you to come. And then he's like, all right, go get Haman and we're going to go to the banquet that Esther wants. Okay, so basically, Esther's like, all right, I want y'all to come to this banquet that I'm doing. That's her petition. So they come to the banquet, and her husband's like, all right, babe, what is it that I can do for you? And so we're going to go to chapter 7, verse 3. Then Esther the king answered and said, If I have found favor in thy sight, O king, and if it please the king, let my life be given me at my petition, and my people at my request. For we are sold, I and my people, to be destroyed, to be slain, and to perish. But if we had been sold for bondmen and bondwomen, I had held my tongue, although the enemy could not countervail the king's damage. Then the king Ahasuerus answered and said unto Esther the queen, Who is he, and where is he that durst presume in his heart to do so? And Esther said, The adversary and enemy is this wicked Haman. Then Haman was afraid before the king and the queen. And the king, arising from the banquet of wine in his wrath, went into the palace garden. And Haman stood up to make a request for his life to Esther the queen, for he saw that there was evil determined against him by the king. Then the king returned out of the palace garden into the palace of the banquet of wine. And Haman was fallen upon the bed whereon Esther was. This said the queen, Will he also force the queen before me in the house? As the word went out of the king's mouth, as the word went out of the king's house, they covered Haman's face. Woo! So basically, man, Haman done messed up. And the king was like, not only are you gonna insult me, but you trying to take my wife in front of me? In front of me, Haman? I'm sorry. Let me calm down. So the reason why I wanted to talk about Esther was, like I said, because this week is bold courage. And I can only imagine how terrified this lady must have been to know that the Lord wanted her to go before this king and save her people, because she was a hidden Jew. Like, it was not talked about. She was very beautiful. It was overlooked. You know, like the whole shebang. Like, she was living comfortably in her life. She was like, y'all go y'all way, I'm gonna go my way. And I think in part Esther may have been afraid to be done like Vashti was. So let's jump back to her. First of all, let me just say, people will always talk bad about you and hate on you when you don't do what they want you to do. Like when the king asked the wise counsel, you know, about the whole situation with Vashti, one man was essentially like, she embarrassed you, so you need to go embarrass her in front of all these people. Which, first of all, that's not fair, because you were drunk and it was an unreasonable request that you made to your wife. And regardless of anything, I just feel like a husband should want to protect their wife and not parade her off like she is some cattle in front of other men, you know. And I am not married, of course, and so I can't really speak on a lot of marriage laws and, you know, things, but I just feel he shouldn't have reacted the way he did towards her. And if, as your wife, you can throw me away so easily when I make one slip up or don't do something you don't want me to do, throw it out the window, Lord. Throw it out the window, because we are here for thick and thin. But so it made me think about, like, you know, people are always going to try to replace you with somebody else. You know, people are always, and sometimes they'll push you away and get a new friend. They'll push you away, you know, whenever they get a new friend, whenever they get something better, you know. And maybe y'all were best friends and they got a boyfriend, and so now they're acting different. Or maybe they got a car and like they're starting to flex on people. These are all very much situations I have heard throughout my life, and I have experienced being pushed to the side for another person, a cooler friend. Or, you know, if two friends have broken up and I come in and try to console one and, you know, be her friend and show her what real friendship is like. I had a girl, you know, who she was venting to me about how her friend was always doing her wrong, right? And so I was comforting her, being there for her, trying to be a friend. But then she turns around and stabs me in the back, and I find out she's been talking about me to the other friend the whole time, the one she was beefing with. You know, people are just weird, and if a person is not genuine about you, they will discard you like an old Kleenex. And I want to reassure somebody that it is not you. I promise you didn't do anything wrong. There is nothing in you that is missing. There is nothing you need to fix about yourself. There is not anything that you need to do in this world other than let them go and focus on being your best, true, authentic self. The Lord is going to put the right people in your life who love you, who want to give you time and energy. Don't give your time and energy to people who won't reciprocate that for you. A hard lesson I had took 2 weeks getting down because I was like, I know the signs of this and I am not going through that again. And I had to hear a hard conversation from wise counsel myself. But it was needed because I saw the signs. I saw the signs. But anywho's, it's not you. I say all that to say it is not you. The Lord will put the right people in your life. My best friend, her and I have been friends for coming up on 9 years. I'd say 9 years in like August, I believe. Yeah. And we always make time for each other. You know, we do not go a day without talking. She is my right hand. You know, she is the only other person outside of my mom who knows me like in and out. So I know and I believe that the Lord will give you an inner circle. People, even if it's just one person, the lesser friends, the better. But you know, he will bring people to you. Just ask him. Ask him for your connections. So Vashti, she was up and out of that thing. And though it is a sad occasion for her, it did bless other people. You know, because Esther comes along, and had it not been for this situation, who knows what would have happened to the Jews, you know, because Haman, I'm sorry, let me just say, I want to call him Haman because there is this guy in this anime I watch called Tokyo Revengers, and his name is Hanma, and I keep trying to call Haman Hama because of Hanma, and it is just a mess tonight. I am so sorry, but Haman, he is just not getting it together with Mordecai. And so when Esther comes along, she is positioned for something, and I can, like I say, she must have been terrified. Like the courage she had to go through to be that girl and to stand up and to say what she believes, because this is not just anybody she's talking about. This is like one of his trusted advisors, you know, like he's his right hand man. And you know, Ahasuerus ain't playing no games when it comes to, you know, what his people say. And so for Esther to really trust in God and go forth, it is just beautiful because she saved so many lives, you know, because she was obedient. And she had, Ahasuerus was head over heels for Esther, okay? And to me, that is beautiful too, because he loved her. He was so moved by love for her that her petitions, he was like, whatever you want, I got it. Give me the task at hand. And I wanted to tell this story to tie it in. So I struggle with insecurities. I will say it is getting a whole lot better, but now I'm in a stage where, since I'm shedding more weight, and I'll dive more into this on a pop's perspective, but I'm shedding more weight and I'm getting back to the size I used to be when I was younger, like before I ever picked up the weight. And for whatever reason, it is harder for me to believe in the fact that I'm pretty, beautiful now versus when I was bigger. And I think I'm pretty sure the Lord told me it was because people bullied me a lot when I was that size, you know. I got ostracized a lot for being smaller than what I was. So when I went and picked up weight, I didn't understand the fuss because my whole life everybody was saying you're fat, and I believed them, when in reality it was not even like that. And so, well, 2 stories. Lord, please help me remember to loop back around to that one. This one is present day. I'm going to talk about this one first because I was starting out with this one. there was this cutest outfit I wanted to wear to church. I had to include a picture. It was this past Sunday, but one side was like had a little strap and like the other side was long. It was a thing, but I hadn't wore that jumpsuit in about 2 or so years, and so I was pretty big the last time I wore it. And when I put it on this time, I felt like I looked amazing. And when I wore it to church, because I don't really dress up for church. I mean, I kind of will every now and then for like special occasions. And I don't go to church looking like just any type of way, but jeans, or some slacks, or something like that. Like, I don't really, it is very to me like just I'm cute or whatever, but like not over the, like not stepping on like Sunday best, more like pre-game outfits. And today was like that, yesterday was like shablam. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. But so to me, the outfit was a really big deal because it was more dressed up than what I normally do. Like I put on earrings, and that's not something I really do. I wore eyeliner, and it was a thing. Like I was being a little lady or whatever, and I was wondering if I was gonna wear it because I do children's ministry, so I didn't want to be overly dressed up, working with the kids. They loved it more than anybody else. But so when I was going into the church, I remember, y'all, I had a little bit of a hesitancy, and I had to keep reminding myself, and the Lord had to keep reminding me, pick your head up. When I was in college, I always walked around like this. If you can't see me on Spotify, I would always look at the ground. At my feet, I didn't want to look at any mirrors, okay? Looking at mirrors was hard for me. I went to a lot of concerts, and I had a lot of bad experiences because of what I perceived about myself. It was hard for me to ever feel beautiful. It was hard for me to ever feel like when I walked in a room, I belonged there. And so going to this church, I feel like certain people, how when they look at you or like turn their nose up at you, it's giving that vibe. And so I'm like, well, dang, if they're gonna act like that anyways, like I might as well give them a reason to, turn their nose up at me. And so, y'all, I walked in the building and I could just tell it was a different Sunday for sure. Okay, parents were so friendly, extra friendly. All right, and it was just funny. My hair was like over here to the side a little bit, like it was a whole thing. And even I spoke to these girls, and they were like, oh my god, your hair is so cute. And I was like, thank you. Like, I say all that to say, sometimes being bold is a great thing, because I never would have thought before this year, before I got here with like my healing and my therapy sessions with Jesus, I never would have thought that I could walk into a building looking like that. That has always been something that lived in my head rent free, but to be able to actually do it and be bold and confident and know that it doesn't matter, because to myself, I look beautiful. Like, to myself, I am amazing. And so it was just a crazy experience for me. And it was a bold moment. And I just want to encourage somebody, like, you deserve to feel that good about yourself. And that makes me a little emotional, because I spent so much time of my life hating the person who's speaking to you right now. I tore her down. I called her names, crying myself to sleep at night, feeling like I was alone, not realizing that I am a valuable person. Like, I am somebody, and then it went to thinking like, you're somebody, but you'll never be pretty enough, or you're somebody, but you're just like this big fat blob, like, y'all, I'm down 32 pounds from where I was at a year ago. And sometimes I'm like, girl, you shouldn't even be thinking like you're all that in the bag of chips, but why not? I've worked hard, and so I just want to encourage you, be bold. Go and do things that scare you anyways. You're never gonna know or feel like you deserve to be there until you keep doing it. I do face paint and content, and sometimes when I'm being bold in those looks, I'm like, Lord, please give me strength, because I'm about to delete this in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But I do my best to keep it there because I trust what God said to me. If He made me a promise, He's gonna see it through, because He's never lied to me yet, and He's not a man that will lie, you know. And another story that it made me think about was, I was actually just telling my best friend about this, but when I was younger, this guy came over to my house. We're gonna call him, we're gonna have to camouflage this really good. We're gonna call him Porcupine. All right. So Porcupine comes to my house, and my brother's in the room playing the game. My mom was gone. I was about in the 5th grade, I want to say. Yeah, 5th, 6th, really about the 6th grade, because that's kind of when we had started going back and forth. I called myself liking somebody, all right, and he was no good for me. I was warned to stay away from him by my mom a lot of times, and of course I didn't listen. He was, my skin tone. He had the pretty eyes, like he was popular or whatever, and it was just how he spoke to me, like I'm not gonna lie, he was charming. He was my crush for the longest time. And I remember the first interaction that I ever remember having with him. He told this guy I looked like a gorilla. And I was so mad at him for saying that about me, because I had a crush on him, and so I tried to move on from him or whatever, but he started just annoying me and coming around every day and trying to make it better and apologizing for what he said about me, doing all the things. But so anyways, he comes over one day and my mom's gone. By this time, we had been going back and forth, or what I call myself dating. We had been going back and forth, and he went and he came in my room. I was grounded. Okay. First of all, I was grounded, and my brother was in the room playing his game. And so this guy, he comes in, and he comes in my room and he's like, let's have sex. And I'm just like, no. And he's like, come on, Shay, like, let's have sex, Shay. Your mom's not here right now. I'll be fast. It'll be quick. And I'm like, and back then, I don't even know why that was a thing, but I was like, no, and I kept telling him, I'm like, you don't understand. If my mom comes home and she sees this, you and I are gonna die. And like, I don't want to die at this age. Like, there's still a whole world out there for me to see. And my brother was in the other room. Like, I don't want to, like, I'm not about to go through that. And so he sat on my bed and he was like, don't you love me? Come on, man. You're really not gonna do it? And I'm like, I do love you. Or I thought I loved him, to be fair. Okay, I was young, but I thought I loved him. I thought I knew what love was. And I was like, I do love you, but I'm not doing this with you. And so he was like, oh man, and just talking trash or whatever. And I'm like, okay, you get out of my room, please get out of my room. Because I knew if my mom came back and I had a boy in my room, it was not going to be good for anybody. It was going to be kingdom come. Like, that was going to be my rapture. And so he leaves my room, and I kid y'all not, while I was walking him outside, my mom was pulling up. And I was just like, the Lord is my shepherd. Even then, I was like, thank you, Jesus. Because I was so terrified, y'all. And it wasn't even that. It was because he was in my room. And, I was a bad kid. So I felt like my mom wouldn't really believe me if I said I was trying to get him out of my room. And she probably would have. It was just I was afraid that she wouldn't have believed that. And so, anyways, he leaves. And my brother is just making all these faces. And I know it's because, he said he was going to go play the game with my brother, but he ends up in my room. And so when I get to school the next day, this guy, we're going to call him Tortilla. He was like, Shay, I heard you were a lesbian. And I said, what? And he said, yeah, I heard you like girls. And I go, who told you this, Tortilla? Like, no, I don't like girls. And he goes, Porcupine said that you didn't want to have sex with him because you like girls. And first of all, I felt humiliated because why would you feel like it was okay for you to go and tell anybody what happened? And then for me to not be even able to explain myself, and now I am being labeled because you did not get your way. So on one hand, I feel like Vashti because I didn't want to perform for him that way. He took my name and went back and labeled me as something else. And I wish I wasn't half as snarky as I am now, because I've been like, I would have lied and be like, yeah, I'm good. It would have been bad. I would have been petty. Okay, so maybe it's a good thing that I'm not. The Lord knew, but yeah, and this guy, y'all, he put me through the ringer. Okay, I probably talk about it more on a Pox perspective, but you know that, like I said, that situation was hard for me because when you're in school, everybody talks and they take your stories and run with it. So a lot of people really thought that I was a lesbian, and it really didn't matter what they think or thought anyways, but to me, then it mattered. It mattered that this person that I am calling my boyfriend is going around telling everybody I'm a lesbian because I didn't want to have sex with him. And before it was over, he managed to seduce all of my friends. So I guess I was the chosen one in the end. The Lord spared me. And they were my friends anyway. That's a whole nother conversation for another day. Point is, don't let nobody label you because you don't perform the way they want you to perform. You are only sent on this earth to please one person, and that is God. Him first. You know, it is hard trying to please everybody all the time anyways, because we are all different humans and we feel and think different things, and we have different ideologies of how life should be, and that is completely okay, you know. And I just want to encourage you, don't fall into that mindset of you have to be what somebody else thinks you have to be. No, you don't. Be yourself, be happy. Take a deep breath, because it is all okay. You were loved, you were seen, and you are so important. And if you're listening to me and you've got this far, it does get better. You do slowly stop caring about other people's perceptions and being bold. Like, even that confidence comes, you know, because there's a lot of things I do now that I never would have done 4 months ago. There's things I'm saying and doing this week that I probably wouldn't have even done 2 weeks ago. Time always moves, so just get in the rhythm and move with it. Pray to God, ask him to show you the way. He's not gonna leave you. Being bold, you can do it in a good way. You know, as long as you're not hurting nobody, talking down to nobody, treating people with disrespect and being unkind, it's all gonna work out in your favor. I promise you, baby child. My dandelion. So thank you guys so much for watching. It's kind of funny because I was like, Lord, is this a healing moment? Am I going to cry behind this? But obviously, I am healed about it. It was just a little bit of a sad moment, but we're still great. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy, please kiss me with the heart. Please subscribe, comment about Bible stories maybe that you would like to talk about or hear. I hope I could give you solace. I hope that I could say something that would really touch your heart. Talk to me if there's anything weighing on your mind or your heart and you want to put it in the comments. You can. If you would like me to pray and agree with you about something, I do that too. Just let me know. I love you. I hope you have a great weekend, a great rest of the week, and until I see you next week, remember always, the Lord bless you, the Lord loves you, and I love you as well. Good night, guys.